Hello everyone, this video is from when I went to the Alice Connection show the other day. I did not stick around very long. I was down there with my grandpa. We were looking for parts for his combine, my 17, and then some parts for the plow for my Alice C. Which I did find some parts for the plow, so hopefully I can get something jerry-rigged together this winter, and next spring I can rip the plow out and do some plowing, because I think it'd be fun. But I'm just gonna basically talk about everything they had there and everything that was interesting. So yeah, let's go. So this is a Allis Chalmers 190 XT high crop. I could not find much about it on Tractor Data, but Classic Tractor Fever had a video on it, so I will link that down below and you can check it out there. But that is a 190 and not an XT. I couldn't really find too much information except for that they are not very common and that they are used in like vegetable fields. And sorry for the bad photo, I was not able to get a decent photo. Something else that you could find were step modifications for all basically of everything that is listed there, for tractors and models and all that. I mainly took the photo because I want to take inspiration from that for on the C. And then other things you could find there were used parts. This is an old grill for an Allis D17, and they had a little bit of anything and everything from your like WCs all the way to like your 200 series would be the best way to put it. Something else that you don't see every day is a green Allis Chalmers. The early Allis Chalmers were green and yellow, just like John Deere. And then they went to the good old Persian orange that we all know and see today. In fact, I believe this one was a 2030. I believe some of the Model A's were also green, and then they switched to orange, I think about halfway through. I could be wrong on that, and maybe someone will be able to correct me down in the comments. I do know that they were green. This one had been modified so they could take it on tractor rides because of the rubber on the steel wheels. So this is something that's coming up here in August, and I actually would like to go see this, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but I definitely will have to try. This is a toy of the 30th anniversary of Helly Farm Equipment. I would have loved to have bought this, but they wanted $280 for this tractor, which is still in the box. I would have loved to have bought this because they are pretty close to my area, but honestly, for $280, if I had the cash, I would have said screw it, and I would have bought it right then and there just to have, because I think that's cool. I probably won't be able to find another one, but if I ever do, I am hoping I'll be able to buy it. They also had a bunch of other Allis toys. They had some International, some Harvard, some Ford, some other newer stuff. It wasn't just Allis stuff there. So here I'm just looking at how this cultivator was mounted on this Allis C, because the brackets for the plow are pretty close to the same, but not exactly the same. You see a lot of interesting stuff there. And now for the dyno runs. I should also mention that they spent a little bit of time getting this onto the WC, as nothing has been on the PTO for a number of years, and it was actually really interesting to see this thing run. So yeah, just listen to your bod there. So, as you can see, he was running the WC unstyled, by the way, on the dyno. The only reason why he really stopped is because if you were there, you could have smelt it. He was starting to burn the clutch. The clutch was not the best, and being the clutch was slipping, it was not applying the full engine horsepower. They do write it down and then show what you're making for horsepower. Unfortunately, I do not remember how much horsepower this was making, but yeah, I thought it was really interesting getting to see a WC run on the dyno. And then just as he was driving away, it looked a little rough with those steel wheels. But that gets changed by Allis Chalmers when they decide to add the steel wheels to the WF, I believe. I could be wrong on that. I can't remember, but someone will definitely comment that down below. In fact, Allis was the first to have the rubber wheels. And I told a coworker about this, and they modified the tractor like in the gearbox, and they got it up to 60 mile an hour out on the salt flats, and the driver said, "I will never do that again." So yeah, but for the time, that was pretty advanced for tractor. So with that 190, it looked like they just had put a brand new exhaust on. So it was, once the exhaust got good and hot, you could see like smoke coming off of it. It was just the paint burning. Again, I don't remember how much horsepower it made on that but oh well. So yeah, and then next up is a D17. This one was a Series 1, if I remember correctly, and this would be right before my 17 was built. So it will be very close in horsepower. So if you heard, my grandpa said it had 12 horsepower less than the XT. I don't remember exactly what it made. I want to say it made like, the 17 made like 64 horsepower or something like that. So yeah, it was definitely a little interesting. Next up is surprisingly a lawn tractor. It was different. I want to say it was like a 5-something lawn tractor. It was a hydro, is all I could tell you. So yeah, here's something I never thought I'd see on a dyno.
we clipped the belt.
Well, that clearly ain't an Allis part. That's a Simplicity part.
Yeah.
But it's essentially the same thing.
Oh, I bet that belt's going to slip. I don't know.
Most likely.
Yeah, it is.
So, as you heard me say, that mower made 12 horsepower. After he was done on the dyno and after I ended the clip, he said, doesn't matter what they say, they're all 12 horsepower. Which is, whatever. Yeah, my grandpa thought it was a little funny. But the main reason for that attachment would be if you had something you didn't really need the, like, I don't know, like 100 horsepower tractor on. Like, you only need a couple horsepower just to make it move. It doesn't need to be fast or anything, like a hay elevator or a grain auger. If you're doing small and slow stuff, that's what that attachment would basically be for. If I remember correctly, I'd have to go look in my books, but if I remember correctly, the B12 had it on the front, just off of that front shaft that goes through on the front for like your snowblower and all that. So just a little different design, but at that point, Allis Chalmers had bought Simplicity and started making their own lawnmowers under Simplicity. And then, if I remember correctly, the Simplicity was basically bought out by Agco. No, Simplicity branched off because of I can't remember what act, but it essentially said if one company has too many of the same thing, something's got to be branched off or sold. So yeah, I'll see if I can find it, but I doubt I will. So yeah. And with that, that finishes this video. I was able to take something that was about 5 minutes and turn it into 15. Or 20 now at this point. But yeah, I enjoy going down to this Allis show. This was down at Middle Amana. It's different than where I thought. I heard Amana and thought of something else, so yeah. This year they got last year, me and my grandpa, or maybe it was 2 years ago now, me and my grandpa went to the Allis show in Albert City at the Thresher show. And that was Allis that year, and I got a lot of stuff for the 17 there. This year they have JIC Case, which I thought was interesting. I would like to go, but I'm most likely not going to go, mainly because I don't really know too much about the JIC, and I saw some of that while I was there last time. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. I will post all the tractors on the dyno as stock video at some point, probably almost the next day after this one is out. So don't worry, it will be posted, just dyno, no narration or anything. So yeah, if you guys have seen anything and you want to add information, feel free to comment down below. So yeah, I know I'm working on getting some other videos done right now. I've been a little bit busy, so please bear with me. So yeah, catch you all in the next one. Adios.